live on the air. I'm Richard Saile.
This is wild.
Hello, welcome back to another episode of Lounge Time. I'm your host, Rich Saile, and on today's episode of Lounge Time 2026 Offseason Grades, we're going over the Las Vegas Raiders, the last team in the AFC West to cover, and I'm pleased to be joined by a key contributor of this show as a guest, Vin Asselin. Vin, how you doing, bro?
Rich, good. Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
So now this would be 5 out of 32 teams you've covered, and it will be 6 with the next team that we're covering after this. But 3 AFC, 3 NFC. See, you did pretty good.
Yeah, I was going to say, helped out a lot. Definitely more intrigued about the ratings this year. I think this is a great, I would say, part about Lounge Time for sure. So I'm looking to be a part of it down the road.
Yeah, well, I'll definitely have you on for more off-season grades next year. I mean, I'd say we've gotten some positive feedback. We've gotten some negative feedback from some people who haven't liked the grades. But nevertheless, it was, I'd say, a pretty good series that we have. But we have 3 teams left to go after this one with you left after this.
Yep.
So let's get to the Raiders, who had a very active and busy offseason.
Very.
Pete Carroll out after 1 year as head coach.
Yep.
In with still Seattle ties.
Mm-hmm.
Clint Kubiak, the offensive coordinator from the Super Bowl champion Seahawks, as the new head coach for the Raiders.
Yep.
And Fernando Mendoza was taken number 1 overall from Indiana, the Heisman Trophy winner from last college football season, which is now 1 more week away from the new season starting.
Yep.
They also had a very busy free agency with Tyler Linderbaum joining the Raiders as the highest paid offensive lineman now in football.
Yep.
Also upgraded a little bit to their receiver room with Jalen Naylor from the Minnesota Vikings.
Mm-hmm.
They also added their defense, some key pieces, upgrades at linebacker with Nakobe Dean, Quay Walker, edge rusher Kwity Paye from the Indianapolis Colts, and Taron Johnson, one of the really top good nickel corners in all of football, going to the Raiders from Buffalo. So they got some guys with some winning playoff experience, not as deep as some other guys, but their draft also was really solid.
Yeah, very
with
solid.
Traden Stukes, the safety from Arizona. They added Kieran Crawford, the edge rusher from Auburn. Jermon McCoy in the 4th round.
Fell.
Due to injury.
Very far.
Depending on how medicals go this year, he could be maybe the steal in the entire draft.
Yeah.
But also a late round pick. They got Malik Benson from Oregon late in the draft. So, and then Kirk Cousins also as the backup quarterback to help mentor Fernando Mendoza, who's brings starting level experience. He's once again getting the highway contract insane of how he's
his agent needs to be in the Hall of Fame for sure. Yeah. It's insane.
Yeah. But I want to ask you, Vin, what do you make of the Raiders offseason as far as what they did to compete in a tough division this year?
Yeah, that division is very tough. I'd say easily one of the toughest in the NFL. I would say focus heavy on the defense this year. They picked up a lot of key guys off free agency, beefed up that linebacker room, helped out with the secondary a little bit. They do have really core young pieces there that really obviously didn't shine because they were so terrible last year. And then obviously with the draft as well too. I think they went specifically on defense this year. I think offense, they could have done a little bit more, but defense, they definitely beefed up for sure.
I think when I look at this Raiders defense, outside of Max Crosby, I mean, they had some nice pieces in the secondary with Isaiah Polamalu at the safety spot there. And we'll go over more of it with the depth chart real quick, but we're going to save that for later. But I really like what they were able to do as far as getting the balance of young guys and then some contributing veterans that have playoff experience as far as what they were able to do.
Yeah.
And I feel like for them, Clint Kubiak and them, they addressed the needs. Like the secondary, I've been saying for years, was not very good at all. And last year they had some young pieces that stood out. I thought it was thinking of this person on the secondary. Jeremy Chin
Yes.
is in Vegas. I know he's in Washington. I didn't know if he was.
Yeah.
I wanted to double check and make sure, but Jeremy Chin, Isaiah Polamalu, Darian Porter, like it's a really better secondary room than what they had years ago.
Yes.
Which I think is very solid for them. So one of the moves that nearly happened for them, and this could go either way with the two teams we're covering soon. Max Crosby nearly got dealt to the Ravens for 2 first-round picks before someone had cold feet on that deal. It could have been the Ravens because they were like, hold on, 2 first-round picks might have been too much for him.
Yeah.
But now Crosby is still in Vegas, and he's in his 30s. He's nearly 10 years in the league.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the Raiders not getting that package of 2 first-round picks hurt them this year, even though they did have some nice pieces they added in the draft?
They did.
And what they're building for the future?
Good question. I would say long-term, that definitely sucked. I mean, 2 first-round picks for Crosby, who obviously is injury-prone. I mean, obviously, he's one of the best rushers in the league for sure. It's just he's injured a lot.
Yeah.
I would say long-term, that definitely would have helped out a lot. Short-term, though, with the team that they had and the defense that they're bulking up with, I think it helps them out really good. But I don't know. That trade's 50-50 because it's like you get 2 first-rounders. What if they don't pan out? Crosby's obviously well-established. He's experienced. You know, he doesn't have to vouch for anything. I would say right now I'm leaning more towards them not getting those 2 first-round picks just to see, all right, because they might be a year or 2 away from being somewhat of a contender. I think with Crosby, I think they can have him for at least 1 or 2 more years, see how these guys pan out this year. I would say I'm favoring more towards them not sending them to Baltimore.
You know, it's so funny, and I mentioned this with, I want to say it was the Cowboys episode, and it's so funny how these teams, this is the same team who had a very similar deal years ago with Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
Where they got 3 first-round picks back from Chicago. Now, in the last couple of trades we've seen, Myles Garrett was dealt for 1st, 2nd, and 3rd over 3 years. Parsons got 2 first-round picks. Crosby would have gotten dealt for 2 first-round picks. But the Raiders, they've done it before when they got Cleveland Farrell, which did not pan out well at all. Josh Jacobs, who was very good for them until they let him go to Green Bay. And then Jonathan Abram, who didn't pan out as well. He had flashes, but didn't pan out well to be worth a crazy investment.
No.
I think those are the right 3 first-round picks that I
would assume so. Those sound familiar.
Yeah. So, but it worked out in a way for them because Crosby they found late in the draft, and he worked out to be really well. Like you said, that some of those fits might not be good for a team that is a year or 2 away in a tough division. And I feel like for the moves that they made, it wasn't earthquake moves where you go, whoa, okay. There were a couple nice moves with the Linderbaum move, which I'm going to shift to the offensive line. Because that's one of the big concerns that a lot of people had from last year was how bad that offensive line was with Geno Smith at quarterback and how they were not able to run the ball with Ashton Jeanty well. And I think Kubiak, looking at how Seattle was built and what they were able to do so successful with their run first and then play action with Darnold, they're building in the right areas. And I think that when I look at how they're building, it's good. Now, as far as them, do I lean them going for the 2 first-round picks? I think the organizations that know how to draft well, it bodes well for them.
Yes.
We don't know with a new GM and a new head coach how that's going to go.
It's unproven.
Because John Gruden's time when they did it, they didn't really draft great.
No.
Like, Josh Jacobs was about maybe the only hit that Mayock and Gruden had during the Khalil Mack trade. And then we don't know how this regime's going to do because we got to give him time.
I know, exactly.
So I feel like it was the right call for them. Lucky the Ravens backed out and got cold feet on that. So I think for them it was the right call because this roster, like even in the draft, like they filled the needs temporarily.
Yeah.
And they're going to be maybe bottom of the top 10 into the teens. Like I look at the AFC being like 10 deep, although there's some people that don't agree with that, which again, people have their own way of how they view the AFC, but I think it's 10 deep where you could be playoff contenders, and then there's a tier below where they could make noise, but there are pieces away.
Yeah.
And the Raiders are right in that tier.
I think so as well.
So, Let's go to the offensive line with the Raiders a little bit with what they do have. And they have, like, there's not many guys that stand out. Like, Colton Miller's been not a great left tackle, but he's been above average at times. You now have Linderbaum, one of the top centers in football. But I'm going to go quick. We're going to start on the depth chart a little bit here. I want to start with the offensive line. Like, I look at this group and I'm like, Spencer Burford, I feel like he was with Kubiak in Seattle for a little bit, so there's some familiarity. Jackson Powers-Johnson was good at Oregon. I don't know if he's panned out well with the constant coaching change that they've had.
Yeah, no.
And I just feel like there are holes in this offensive line for Kirk Cousins or Mendoza, and from all reports are leaning, it looks like Kirk Cousins might start game 1 for Las Vegas.
Which I think is honestly a smart move.
And you know what? I'm going to lead into that since you're on that. So, before I ask the question on the offensive line, who do you believe right now deserves to start for the Las Vegas Raiders? Is it Kirk Cousins, who he's up there in age, 38, 39 years old, he's been in the league over 10 years, or do you go with Mendoza, who you spent the number 1 overall pick with to let him get a season under his
reps
belt?
in? Yeah, I would say best move is probably have Kurt start maybe 1 or 2 games and then ease Mendoza into it, or maybe start him for 1 game, see how he does, and start Mendoza halftime, something like that. I would say definitely don't throw the rookie in there right away. I know the preseason game just came out and looked a little shaky there, so I would say maybe keep Kirk as of right now, and then maybe throw him in maybe if the team's not doing so hot, or if you know something's going on in the back office, throw him in. But I would keep Kirk in for right now.
They're in that situation where game 1 happens to be a very favorable opponent. I believe this is the right move to start Kirk Cousins now, because you see a lot of these young quarterbacks that get thrown into the fire the last couple of years, and high-profile figures like Tom Brady and others have said, maybe we need to develop these guys a little bit longer before we throw them into the fire and see how they do. Like, development isn't a bad thing, and I like how Vegas is doing it. Kirk Cousins has been around the block. Game 1 is a favorable opponent against Miami for when we do the schedule later. And they're home for the Dolphins. So I think it's the right move to do to see how Kirk Cousins does. It's like New England did with Drake May, with Brissett starting a couple years ago. And then, like, they had Caleb and Bo Nix start right away. Jaden Daniels started right away. Cam Ward started right away. Like, I can't recall many guys other than late first round picks or like early round 2, like Jordan Love, Jalen Hurts had to wait a little bit. And they're both solid quarterbacks that can have playoff wins under their belt, one of the Super Bowl win under their belt. So it's not bad for him to sit and learn a little bit, especially Kubiak's offense. Like, he's got to make sure that they have plays, formations they're comfortable with as far as getting him situated. And the preseason is a good opportunity to evaluate him. And game 1, he looked pretty decent, pretty good. And then game 2, there's no shame. There's no shame against Houston. Not at all. That defense is really good. You might as well see, like, he had moments, but this is what you want. It's learning and evaluation.
Of course.
And I think they're making the right call as well. But let me go to the offensive line. So they struggled run blocking for Genti last year.
Yes.
And I don't think this past season was all in action Genti being a bust, because I know people are ready to go, oh, see, he came from Boise State. He's not really that good.
The O-line was terrible.
Did we not see how bad Geno Smith had no time to throw? Like, the Chargers Monday night game immediately comes
That was bad. Yeah,
like,
I was going to say.
I watched a clip of that 2 days ago. I'm like, they had the nerve to say Genti's a bust. Did we not see what Geno Smith was trying to? There was time where he was like running around like Patrick Mahomes style, and I'm like, that offensive line had no chance.
The ball would be snapped, pocket collapsed. Immediately.
Do you feel like, even with the Tyler Linderbaum signing and where Kubiak is trying to address, do you feel like this offensive line is built better for what Kubiak is doing well with Seattle last year? Even though I know they're not roster-wise better with Seattle, but what Kubiak wants to do.
I would say it's definitely a step in the right direction. Obviously, with Linderbaum coming in, I think that's a huge addition to any offensive line. Obviously, Rome wasn't built in the day, so they kind of have to figure out these guys. But I would say this is definitely a very good step in the right direction. I don't know how much one center is going to make a difference on a whole O-line team, but definitely it patches up a hole, I would say, in a sinking boat. Hopefully Genti can get a little bit more. I know last year everyone was saying, like, yeah, he's a bust, he's terrible. But he literally had one of the worst offensive lines. And he still did pretty solid without their help, basically. So I would say definitely step in the right direction for sure.
Boy, they're happy Chip Kelly's gone because Chip Kelly's no longer the OC there.
My God, yeah.
So it just shows how like any team gets rid of Chip Kelly, they're happy. The Eagles won. The Eagles won 2 years after Chip Kelly, and then now the Raiders. Who know? I'm not saying it's this year, but they will improve under.
They will improve.
They will improve under Clint Kubiak. I'm confident with that.
Yep.
So I want to go to the skill group.
Go for it.
Brock Bowers, we know, is a top 2 to 3 tight end in the game. Maybe number 1 tight end, depending on who you want to stack. Trey McBride's got an argument for some people, but
yeah,
Bowers is in the conversation. I look at this wide receiver room, and maybe it's me. I feel like they have some good, solid role players. But who's the guy that's going to help Cousins or Mendoza when Bowers gets all the coverage dictated to him? I don't know if guys like Trey Tucker or Jalen Naylor or Jack Beck or Dante Thornton, who, Dante Thornton's a burner with size. I don't know who that number 2 guy is going to be when all coverage dictates to Bowers.
I know. I honestly, I'm looking at the skill group. I don't see a lot. And if Jalen Naylor's your number 1, I mean, I don't know. I never really... I have no idea. It's a very tough skill group. I mean, the Raiders recently have never really had a great receiving room. Obviously, besides like Crabtree and Cooper days, but that was far back. You know what I mean?
That was a decade ago.
Yeah, like I've never heard the Raiders be like, wow, this like receiving group is amazing.
Would you say 22 though with Devontae and Hunter Renfrow, Waller? But that was like not a deep receiver room. But
no, but it was much better than this. I mean, they clearly had a 1 and 2 here.
Yeah.
They barely have a 1.
I'm trying to think. I know there's another name that I just can't remember.
Throw it in the comments, Raider fans.
Yeah, there you go. I'm probably again. This is just how well I'm trying to remember. I also had Devontae fantasy those years with the Raiders because I knew McDaniels would let him cook. But I don't like this receiver depth at all. Like I don't see a guy that can establish himself as the number 2 option when Bowers gets coverage. We know Ashton Jeanty, they're going to run, and he's going to be better this year. I'm confident in that. I think it's too early to label him a bust when...
Too early.
But I just feel like Bowers is going to have a monster year. He is.
He's going to get fed everything.
Like, Trey Tucker is a solid player, but he's not a 1. And maybe they're just evaluating who they view in the long-term plans. It's why they're not in that wide receiver 1 market yet.
Yeah.
But again, you have guys like Max Crosby with big contracts, Colton Miller. They did spend a ton of money in free agency, which, depending on how you work against the cap, maybe they could move together. They're looking to probably maybe get that 1 in the next draft, which, if you look at where they're projected to probably be picking, there are names out there that they could get. And I'm not going to go through
this next year's draft's offensive heavy for sure.
So I think they can get that guy in next year's draft. So I understand where they're going with it. But I do like the way that they're building offensively. But I think they're going to be a run-heavy team.
I think as well, too.
I'm just not sure. Like, I think the line is in the right direction, but they're definitely not that bad last year. But again, Kubiak, I think, has a good system that will protect the deficiencies of that offensive line from that. So, defensively, I look at them and they are, I would say, better along the linebacker core.
For sure. And
they are a 3-4 defense because Patrick Graham used to be the coordinator for the Raiders, and now he's with the Steelers. Mm-hmm. So this 3-4 defense, so Crosby and Pay on the edge, I like that as a 1-2 punch there. Yeah. The inside backers with Dean and Quay Walker, very good.
Great pickups.
I just don't know if they have the guys that can collapse the pocket if they're in that 3-4. Like Adam Butler, I remember him in New England. He was a very solid rotational role player.
Okay.
Is he a guy that could be an interior disruptor where on a consistent basis? I don't know. I think he's more like a better like defensive tackle in a 4-3 scheme personally, but maybe it's me because I know Bill ran some variations of a 3-4 in New England. But I look at this defensive line and I go, who's that pocket collapser in case they slide protection to Crosby's side? Because you know all of his lines are going to slide Crosby's way.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
I don't know either.
So the secondary, we talked about it a little bit. They're way better than what they used to be.
Yeah.
Like, they have young guys like Darian Porter, tall, lengthy corner, and you're going to have that with the Chargers receivers, Quentin Johnston. Mm-hmm. Broncos have Cortland Sutton. The Chiefs have Rashee Rice, who's like 6'1"-ish, I want to say. So he's good for like the teams with bigger receivers. Taron Johnson is a very good nickel who can blitz, who can cover. Won a lot in Buffalo, so he knows how to fit his role there. Stokes, been a decent corner in the league, maybe very good at times. Do you feel like this Raiders team defensively is going to be a little better than maybe most people are thinking in the media?
I would say so. I would say for sure. I think that linebacking pickup is nuts. I think that two pair is great. The one thing I'm scared about is the pass rush. I feel like they're just going to, or just the rush in general, they're just going to double team or shift aside wherever Crosby's on. And like you said, I don't think there's a really like a key guy that stands out that can be like, all right, I can kind of like turn up when Crosby's getting double teamed. I mean,
yeah.
Secondary is definitely way better than before.
Yeah.
I would say they're not going to shock people, but I would say they're definitely going to be a little bit better. I would say overall this team, I think they might exceed expectations, which the bars have set very low for them for sure. So I think anything above where they're at now is much better.
I think you're going to see a team be in the above average department in takeaways and pass defense because they have this secondary is a lot better. I was like, when I was doing the grading, I was like, this is not a bad secondary, especially I know since Pete looked to build that secondary, which they did very well last year with getting Jeremy Chin over from Washington. And now Kubiak, they got McCoy as a third string DB, which I feel like he's going to move up the depth chart if the medicals check out.
That's what I'm saying. I if he balls out and injuries are just not there, I think that's a steal of the draft for sure.
Yeah. I just think too, like this team, like even they have a little bit of depth where I'm like, they could be solid. So I think they're going to be a very good pass defense, above average. I would say like definitely above the top 16. I would see them on the top half of the league at pass defense, like more in the 11 to 16 range. I would even say takeaways, like Taron Johnson's going to be a guy like Chin can force fumbles. Polamalu's got some speed where he can have tackles for loss. Like the run defense, they'll be a little better.
Okay.
I would say they're like in the average defense department where like they might not get a lot of sacks outside of Crosby. Like Kwity Paye maybe might have like a 7-sack year, maybe. But then I look at everybody else, I'm like, I don't know if they have that interior disruptor. Like I look at this team and I don't know if they can get interior pocket pressure from the B gaps and the C gap. Like I don't know if they can do that this year. I have some questions there.
Okay.
So what would you say, before we go to the schedule, what would you say are your biggest questions with this team? Outlining the roster, like how they match up in the division. Like, give me your biggest question you feel like with them that you want to see answered from this team.
Quarterback. I mean, I think the quarterback position easily, like how you said, you drop a first-round pick on a quarterback, Heisman winner. Is Kirk Atlanta Kirk? Is he Vikings Kirk? I mean,
I don't know if he's Vikings Kirk.
I don't think he's Vikings Kirk anymore.
Definitely not Washington Kirk.
No. I think it's quarterback, how fast you're going to put Mendoza in the game. I think they should definitely take their time with him. Like how you said, quarterbacks get thrown to the fire and then they just have to kind of learn on themselves because their backups are really good. But Kirk Cousins, I mean, obviously a veteran in the NFL. Hopefully Mendoza can learn with him. That and just, I would say how good their defense could be this year. They definitely went way heavier on the defense. I'll go top three. So I'll do quarterback, I'll do defense, and then maybe offensive line. How good is the offensive line going to be this year? I know they only added one person, but if these guys can prove themselves and get Genty going, I mean, hey, Genty's still a great running back. He's easily top 5. He just had a crap offensive line.
Yeah. I'll make mine quick.
Go for it.
Receiver room. Who's going to be the second guy?
Go three.
I would go the interior disruption at defensive line as far as who's that guy that's going to collapse the pocket. I feel like that's a question mark I want to see. Like, can they be an average run defense? Or are they going to be below average, which is where I think most people have them ranked. And then it's the offensive line outside of left tackle and center. I want to see, like, are they making a jump where they're not Geno Smith no time level bad last year. Like, I believe this offensive line will be a little better, but how much better are they going to be? So I'm going to say those 3.
Okay.
All right, so let's go to their schedule. Where I hinted game 1, they are lucky they versed the Dolphins at home. And it's a good start for Kirk Cousins to kind of see how he fits with Kubiak's system within the scheme. But let's go to it. Home for the Dolphins. I did initially have Miami winning because this is why I had the Dolphins winning.
Whoa.
The Raiders always win a game they have no business winning early.
Yeah.
A la last year, my team. But then they lose the games where you go,
How?
they're supposed to win. The one time I think they're supposed to win, they lose that game.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like Miami, like a lot of people think, all right, Kirk Cousins is starting. Miami's rebuilding. They're going to lose to Miami, my feeling says. And I know Miami's going to be top 5 in the draft. They're really building for the long term. Do you disagree with me on that game? It's okay if you do.
I disagree. I think they're
okay.
going to win that game.
I can see it. I'm going by what I feel like I've known this team to do. Where they, like 5 years ago, they beat Baltimore at home with Lamar Jackson in overtime.
No business.
That's what I'm talking about. Like, they have those games.
But there is a game on the schedule where I cashed that ticket in that they win a game that they should not.
I want to hear that. So all right, let's go to it. All right, at the Chargers, I don't think they win that game.
No,
I don't. At New Orleans is a coin flip game where they could surprise people. I'm gonna say they lose that game and go 0-3.
Okay, I got 1 and 2.
Okay, so you got them beating the Saints.
But I haven't beat Miami.
Oh, that's right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, my bad. Home for the Chiefs. That'll be a little closer than most people say. Not like one score close, but closer than people will say.
Mm-hmm.
I've got them sadly 0-4. That's bad. At New England, no way. Not this time. Home for the Bills, no. The Rams, wow, I did not realize how bad this start is. But again, they could beat Miami and they're like 1-6, but I don't see it. At the Jets, there's their first win.
Really?
That's their first win.
So I got to win as well too.
Okay. I forgot to ask you the last couple ones, but I feel like we mostly agree on that stretch from like Kansas City to the Rams. They're not winning one of those games. But then again, I don't know what the surprise game is for you. At the Niners, I'm not going to do that to them. I'm not. There's no way
that's my surprise game.
Okay, see, why?
I just think that for some reason I have a really good feeling that the Raiders are going to win that game. I don't know why. I know they're going to be terrible this year, but for some reason I just feel like the 49ers, I think they're going to choke that game.
That's
at an away game as well too. So I think
close to from like where they used to be.
So I just think that I cashed my ticket in that the Raiders beat the 49ers.
Okay. I'm not surprised by that if that happens.
Clip that, and when they beat it, we'll come back to this.
All right, I'll make sure to do that. All right, home for Seattle, no way. Okay, at Denver, where they played close last year.
That's what I was going to say. I think they split with Denver this year.
That could be the way.
I think they split with Denver. I think they lose. Yeah, I think they split with Denver.
Okay, that's not crazy. I wouldn't say you're crazy for that, but I don't think they win in Mile High. At Cleveland, I'm gonna give them a win.
Yep, I'm giving them a win too.
I'm gonna say 2-10 going into the bye week, which I did not realize how bad their beginning is. But again, they probably will be Miami. They're like 3-9. I just think again, like the beginning half is the beginning
half is brutal.
It's brutal. Home for the Chargers. Okay,
they split.
They played them really tough in Vegas last year with a bad offensive line. I'm gonna say they lose that one. I'm not gonna. I think
it's gonna be closer.
I think it'll be close, but I don't think they'll win at home. I don't think they'll beat the Chargers once. Denver at home.
I think they split with Denver.
You think so? I'm trying to look for that surprise game, which I might lean with you on the Niners being that surprise game.
I don't know why. I just feel like they're going to win the Niners.
Maybe, you know what? Maybe the Chargers is that surprise game.
Okay.
Because they did play them tough. Denver, I don't think they're close to Denver as far as like blocking that pass rush and that defense with bonus.
Do they have a single primetime game this year?
I'm looking at it right now. No.
No, they don't.
No. Well, when you're number one overall pick, it doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
I'm going to say they lose at home to Denver.
Okay.
Home of the Titans. Coin flip game. I think they could beat the Titans. I do.
Okay.
So I'm going to say, what is that? What are we, week 16? So what are we, 3-12 at this point? Yeah, 3-12. Because Jets at Cleveland, Tennessee, at Arizona, which I get, if the Cardinals are to win one game, I think it was this. I think it was this or the Jets.
So I think they lose against Arizona, though.
You know what? I think I'll give them the win against Arizona. I'm not going to.
Okay, so you got the win, all right.
And then at Chiefs, depending on if, well, the Chiefs are actually going to need it for playoffs, but I'm going to say they lose though. I'm going to say 4-13, but they could be like a 6-11. Like they could beat the Niners. They could beat Miami. where they do like maybe.
I think they might split with one other team in the division.
They could.
I don't think it's just going to be that. I
feel like they are like the team where like a part of me is like, don't be surprised if they're like 6-11, and they like beat some teams like you said that they're not supposed to beat. But I am like thinking when I look at this first half of the schedule, I'm like,
the first half is tough.
It is brutal. Like Miami, yes, at Saints could be, but in New Orleans, it's always weird. Like
I think they split with the Chargers and the Broncos this year.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
I think they split.
All right. Let's go to the offseason grades. I'm gonna let you go first before I give mine. What grade would you give the Raiders offseason?
I would give them a B+.
Okay.
B+.
Okay.
I would say this is the Raiders we're talking about.
Yeah.
They've added so many people to that team. Defense, offense, they could have added a little bit more, but obviously with the O-line, they beefed it up. The reason why they're not in the A tier is because, one, receiving. They have no receivers.
Fair point. Great point.
I would say with the draft as well, too, they did more towards defense, which is really good, but I feel like they could have added a little bit more people with the receiving core. And then that, like, pass rush, or the D-line guy where Crosby, like, the interior guy, I don't think they addressed it. That's why I think it's not an A, but I say B+.
Yeah. Compared to what this team was last year and what they were lacking, and what the cap space they spent, I'm going to say A-.
Oh.
Because they did their best with filling
what they had. What they got.
They needed to do. Like, they upgraded a little bit on the line.
Mm-hmm.
They did get linebacker help. They needed that badly. Secondary is better depth-wise, and that's huge when you're playing teams like Denver, the Chargers, Chiefs that are going to throw. Even though Chiefs might become more of a run-heavy team this year. But I'm going to respect your points on, like, there are some gaps that they need. But I feel like this is a team where they have one more move. They might surprise people. I don't think it's going to be at the deadline, but they got Kubiak, offensive-minded head coach. They're building in the right way. And Mendoza will start at some point.
Mm-hmm.
That beginning half is going to be tough for them to do. I believe that he might surprise people where at the Niners, at Jets, they might win. Well, no, I have the Jets winning, but at the Niners, they could win. And maybe they split with somebody in the division that surprises. But again, there are good signs with this team where they can build up from the beginning. And I think that they are making the right moves. It's a little gaps in depth, receiver, interior offensive line, interior defensive line help. Where I'm like, if they add a couple more pieces, I would put it in the A. I'm not going to go there, but A- it's like close to a B+, so like you said. But I'm going to go A-.
I got them winning, I would say average. I think I got them winning like 5 to 6 games this year.
Okay. I'm going to
I'd
go
say 5 to 6.
I'm going to go 4, but with the upside of hitting 6 or 7 as a ceiling.
I would say 6.
So, yeah. All right, so that is the offseason grade for the Las Vegas Raiders. Make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, so that way you guys can get all the latest content and info regarding the 2026 season that is soon to be upon us. With the preseason episode coming very soon, we will be doing a college football 12-team playoff prediction. We will also be doing an NFL Super Bowl 61 prediction and winner, along with my playoff teams. You do not want to miss those episodes when they drop very soon. You can also follow me at LoungeTimePod on X. If you have a question football related, tweet it at the show and I will answer it. I promise I'll give you at least your 30 seconds of fame. It will be longer, but I will give you your attention as far as if it's a good question. Now, if it's a crap question, that would suck. But anyway, thank you so much for watching Lounge Time. I will see you guys in the next episode of 2026 Offseason Grades.